All of us who were alive in the 1980s need no explanation of what I mean when I say the word Challenger. But because not everyone was here then, the Space Shuttle Challenger launched in January 1986, and it was one of the most exciting and awaited launches there was because it had 6 astronauts and a school teacher named Krista McAuliffe going up into space. All of the TV networks carried the launch live. I was in school then, and I remember we watched it as an assembly in school. It was very exciting. But the night before the launch, one of the manufacturers of the space shuttle components called NASA. And they said, the O-rings that we manufactured are only intended to be used when the temperatures are in the 40s and above. And it had been really unseasonably cold in Florida that week. And they said, there's been too many nights in the 30s. We're not confident that the rings will work. So you need to cancel the launch. But there was so much riding on it. All the schools in the country were having assemblies to watch it. There was going to be all of this rigmarole going into this. So the stakes were really high. And the NASA managers talked to the engineers and they said, what do you think? We can pull this off, right? Come on, we can pull this off. This is going to work, right? Go ahead, sign the report, sign off on this. And the engineers, being hassled, signed off on it. And that morning, the Challenger took off, and there I was in my 5th grade classroom, watching with everyone in the world when the O-rings failed, and the Challenger blew up, and everyone died. An author that writes about mental health says that good mental health is a commitment to reality at all costs. You just stay committed to reality no matter what, and you'll be fine. Jesus says that in an even clearer way. He says, the truth will set you free. But the truth is sometimes hard to take. On that morning in 1986, the truth would have meant some NASA managers got fired, probably. It would have involved a lot of lost revenue for anyone advertising for that. It would have involved a black eye for the space agency. People just weren't willing to face that inconvenient truth. But good mental health is facing reality no matter what the cost is. If it's real, I want to face it. And Jesus said, the truth will set you free, but it costs something. The truth is very costly. The gospel that we heard tonight, he uttered the night before he died, the night before his faithfulness to the truth cost him everything. And he said to them, I wish for you to be consecrated in the truth. Consecrated. Committed at all costs to the truth. A way for us to understand what it means to be consecrated to the truth is that we are absolutely committed to face reality, no matter what. To not make up half-truths and convenient lies for ourselves. To not just go easy on ourselves, but to be willing to face what is true, no matter what. Many of you who've lived in Ravenna all your life will remember Mayonne's grocery store. Peter Mayonne, who died a couple of years ago, used to talk about this. He said, the truth always comes out in the end. You got to face it. And then he said, if the truth doesn't come out in the wash, it's going to come out in the rinse. And if it doesn't come out in the rinse, you know it's going to come out in the spin. The truth always comes out in the end. So now we're seeing an application of that in the first reading. There are 11 apostles. We all know that Jesus called 12, but there's 11. And we all know why. Because of Judas. There was an empty spot. So what did they do, we hear? They got qualified people who knew Jesus very well, who were with him from the beginning. They took two of them and nominated them, Barsabbas and Matthias, and then they had cast lots for that, and it turned out, because of the lots, that it was Matthias. And so they entrusted themselves to the Holy Spirit. It must be Matthias, and they moved forward. They had to face that Judas wasn't coming back. They had to face that they couldn't undo all that had been done. They needed to move forward. They needed to face the truth. I think it's important for us to think about that story from their perspective, put ourselves in their shoes, because remember, Judas had been with them all along. They had a million memories with him. He had very beautiful moments with the apostles and with Jesus. But in the end, he betrayed Jesus and was gone forever. They had to face that. Have you ever met someone who can't face what's happened to them? And so they rehearse it over and over again, not accepting it. I can't believe that my position was cut. I had a great job, and now I'm out of work, or I've had to go to another career, and I don't like it as much. Or someone who says, I can't believe what my ex did to me. And then somebody might say, oh my gosh, how long have you been divorced? Well, 20 years, but it was awful, and I want you to hear about it. So many of us can't accept when we lose someone we love. All of us know what it's like to not find it easy to move on. But part of being consecrated to the truth is being willing to face reality in our life, no matter what the cost is. A big pivot for us is when we recognize that acceptance does not require us to approve of anything that happened or to like it. A lot of us don't recognize that acceptance simply means you're willing to face it. It means I am willing to face it. I am consecrated to the truth, and so this is what's happening, and I am facing it. It's acknowledging that this is real. Too many of us, myself included, have wasted time sitting around waiting to like a situation or to realize maybe that it was all for the best. That is not the way to accept something. It is making a decision that we're going to face it because it's real, because it happened. If we sit around waiting to like it, we may never accept it. There's nothing to like about the Challenger explosion or about the loss of a relationship or of a job or of a loved one. We're never going to like that. We can't sit around waiting to like it or to think maybe it's really good. No, we have to accept it, to face it, to be consecrated to the truth. If we don't stay consecrated to the truth, we are always going to be falling down the wrong path. Because that's probably the easiest way for us to understand what sin is. Sin is whenever we're not aligned with the truth. Whenever we're not aligned with the truth for ourselves or for others or for life. There's a million examples of this. How not aligning ourselves with the truth becomes a sin. Like when we're married, but we act as if we're not. We act as if we're not married. Or if we're a child or a teenager, but we act at home like we pay all the bills, like we're in charge. Or if I'm a friend to someone, but if they're not there and other people start gossiping about them, I join in. Or I stay silent as if I don't have any relationship with them. Or if I drink like I'm an alcoholic, but if someone dares bring up concern about my drinking, I'm shocked and horrified and angry. How dare you? Consecrate yourself to the truth, Jesus says. Face what needs to be faced. Don't turn away from what's real. So this week, we are being encouraged to figure out what that means for us in our life right now. How can we be consecrated to the truth? One question we can ask ourselves to find out where we may be having struggle with this is, what is something in my life that I'm pretending I don't know? What's something that I'm pretending I don't know? I act as if it's not true, but deep down, I am clear on it. What's a hard truth in my life that I'm not yet ready to face? How can we move a step in the direction of facing it? Because that's what it takes to be balanced, to live wholesome and holy lives, to not let our character defects get the best of us. We have to stay consecrated to the truth, because the truth, Jesus says, will set you free.